from training.tv. My name is Margaret. I'll be your broadcast engineer for today. Hello, all. Hope you all are doing good. Hello, Nick. How's life been treating you?
Very well. Thank you very much.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm going to pop open our live stream training schedule. So today we are continuing the Fundamental Layout Design series. If you'd like to support the channel, we would greatly appreciate it. We're going to scroll down and look at this shenanigan. And we have our paid subscriptions. So our paid subscription, basically, we do a lot of video content. We make a lot of video content. We are actually, the reason why you have not seen any of our usual stuff on YouTube is because we are being caught up and trying to finish one of our paid series, the Claris FileMaker training series we were working on. We're working on that like pretty much every day. If you're like, man, they forget about it. No, it's just Richard will see something, he doesn't like it, and then he wants to reshoot it, which makes sense because he wants to be the best it can be. But as a result, stuff is taking a bit longer than we anticipated. But basically, we have a ton of video options for you. We got all our free videos. I know that our live stream format doesn't work for everyone. I do talk about this pretty regularly, but I get comments about it pretty regularly. If you prefer a much more condensed format where you get the information you're looking for in very bite-sized animated chunks, that's what our video subscriptions are for. We do love our live streams being conversational. That is a big part of one of the reasons we enjoy them because we get to interact with the community. But that doesn't work for everyone's learning process. So, anyway, if you've bought this, thank you very much. We definitely appreciate the support. Seriously, every bit helps. So, cool. I think we're good. I'm going to hand it over to you, Nick. I know you've always got a lot to talk about. What are we doing today?
Hello. Hello, everybody. So thank you for joining today. So today we do another day on the design of the layout. And so we talk about object. We create our own object. We start talking about how to organize fields to have a better visibility and understanding, and then you don't confuse the user. At the same time, we learn how to gain, to gain real estate and use the real estate to have the most as possible with the less real estate possible, right? So that we can put more things, but without packing them, right? Because the packing is not good, you know. Don't pack your stuff, don't, so this is what we're going to start talking today. The spacing and the positioning and how you need to organize your layout to get something comfortable, right? Sometime when you go to some website, you feel it yourself. Some websites are so easy to use and friendly, and you feel comfortable. You don't feel lost. So when you don't feel lost, you have more confidence, right? So you have more confidence in not doing stupid things and break things or delete things, right? Or getting lost. Some people have uh, the fear of clicking a button because they say, "Oh, if I click here, can I go? Can I come back?" Right? And sometimes they click, and then we don't know, you don't know where to come back. So on the website, what you do, you click on the go back, page back button, and most of the time you land at the beginning of the website, so, because they didn't do a good job on the navigation, right? So that's something else that we're going to start talking about, the navigation, right? I always say that, and that I love, the best navigation is not having one, right? So that means the best way to navigate is to not living where you are for no reason, right? Or to stay there as much as possible. We have many, many things that we can do with FileMaker to avoid going somewhere else, right? And that is when you have a great design and modern design, a great architecture, right? It's the same like, you know, I have a good example. I'm remodeling my house here in Greece, the other house. I will have like 4 walls like this and everything empty. Yeah, you know, and I'm struggling to, make the arrangement, of the 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom space that I want to build. and I can make it. I cannot make it. So I have Luisa, who is going to do that for me. She's an architect, right? So that's her job, right? So she's going to come with the best plan. A FileMaker solution, especially a FileMaker solution, is the same thing. You need to come with a great architecture. Okay, so you need to become a software architect, which is not easy, right? I can give you some basic, right? And then I can give you some basic to start thinking by yourself with a common sense. Okay, but there's rules everywhere. Everything in life has rules. You can break them, but you're on your own if you break them. Um, I encourage you not breaking them, because not breaking the laws and the rules so far, that helped me solve problem and avoid making mistakes, right? Especially what you don't want is, okay, if the solution is for yourself and only yourself, well, you don't care. Like, you see the stuff I'm using for my own stuff, I have pretty much no UI because I don't care. But when I build something for customer with multiple users, you don't want your users to call you every 5 minutes to ask you where to find something and stuff like that. You don't want that, right? And when you have an employee, you want the employee to use the thing and to be comfortable, to have a sense of pleasure, a sense of confidence. So to do that, to get to that result, you need to follow the rules. So where those rules are coming from? Well, they're coming from almost 40 years of experience we have, because our graphical interface came, not almost 40 years, more than 40 years. They come from the 1984, right? Where pretty much where they put the basis there, right? The fundamental principle. But then we evolved. We evolved in two ways. First, we have a better technology, better screen, wider screen, bigger screen. Also, we have more power, that we can put more things, more elaborated, right? More constructed. And the third, the most important, is we are educated. So if you have a layout where you have a floating plus button, the plus is going to add something, create something. The plus, right, is adding. So why so the plus sign is adding. A trash is deleting, right? We are educated that way. A printer, well, prints. So we have sign, we have icons, we have things that we know about without any labels, right? The positioning of things also is important. The spacing, the where you put things, how you present things, very important as well. So we're going to start talking about this, right? So here I want to show you, so first, do we have any question from yesterday? I don't think so.
I do not. People are asking about the design file, but I'll share them what I've got, and then you can give me an updated version as of.
Yes, I'm going to today. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to give. So about the list things, yesterday we talked about this. I'm going to have a full webinar about this,
Oh, okay, that's good.
about the list, because the list is complicated. The example I got yesterday, the list 1, 2 within list 3, 4, 3, 4, and then 5, it works that way, okay? But it works because you have a very specific lists content, right? The source of the list is local, right? Everything gets way more complicated when you have a related source, right? So that's what I was talking about. But I'm going to have a full complete webinar 1 or 2 days on the list stuff, because lists, is really, really, useful, and you need to take this, uh, really useful. You can use the list for many things, like I did yesterday. Use the list to do something that is not a list. At the end, you don't have, actually, it's the opposite of the list. At the end, you have a flat line, but the list helps you for the construction, right? It's a great support, right? So for many logic, you need a support, right? To, at the end, get a result, but you need something to hold, right? And something to organize. So it's an organizer, pretty much. The list is a great organizer because it's a list, right? Okay, so we're going to talk about that in the next thing. So let me stop this and share my screen. So let me pause this right now. I want to make sure that I don't show anything. So we're going to start about talking about our layout organization, architecture, right? So where we put things and where we don't want to put things. And also, I'm going to tell you why we need to put things there. Okay, why? So let me pick a layout that is not, maybe I can select this one. Let me show you this, see? Yeah, this one's good. It's not too complicated, so I can select this one. Okay. Oops, okay. So here, a typical layout that I'm building, right? Okay, so the first thing you need to think about, the top of your screen. So how we read a book, how we read a newspaper, how we read a magazine, or how we read a layout, the same way, from the top to the bottom. This is all the language, Japanese and Chinese included, from the top to the bottom. Okay, so especially Japanese and Chinese. So we read from the top to the bottom. Our eye will be attracted much more by the top. We're going to look at the top of the screen much more than the bottom. We don't look here, right? We don't look there. Normally we don't do that. Our tendency is to look here, right? So that being said, especially the Latin-based language, not only we read from the top to the bottom, but we read from the left to the right. So the very top priority angle corner of the screen will be this one, right? So no, it's not a, it's not a big surprise if the menu, the most important menu on all those menus is this one, right? This one is where you open, is where you quit. Why they didn't put they didn't put file here and put help there? Why? Right? So why? It's because help is not the top priority. It's not where you go the most. This is where you go the most. This is where you start, right? This is where you start. So when Apple invented the graphical interface, they took that in account, right? And that's why they came with the right way. And unfortunately, Microsoft couldn't reproduce this in the Windows. They built this in the bottom, which all Mac user using Windows, they feel very uncomfortable. And Windows user using Mac, they felt, oh, that's great, right? It's because of that effect, okay? So it's not to criticize Microsoft or not, but to explain, right, the priority, right? The the angle here, this angle here is the most priority, is the top priority, okay? Is the most important. So you put in that corner the thing that you go the most important thing. In many websites, you will see this, you have the most important thing on top right, on top left, right? I'm not talking about mobile. I am not talking about mobile. This is for desktop. Mobile is totally completely different. And sometimes mobile is the opposite. So in many cases, but here we're talking about desktop, right? I will have another design for mobile later, right? But we talk about desktop. So what do I put? So what do we do with this? Okay. When you have a layout like this, what you need to do here, right, is to reserve a space on top, right, for the tools that we're going to get there always, all the time, right? Something, so the top of the screen, when you have a solution with multiple layouts, need to be always the same. Don't make layout with a different toolbar, a different, you know, uh, like this, this top, what we call top navigation in FileMaker, right? It's a top navigation. They call like this because more likely we're going to put navigation tools there, but not only navigation tools. So the for the eye to be comfortable, okay, we have a minimum size, right? Uh, you can't build something like I built here, so let's build the same, right? So if you have a button like this, right? So let's put the same icon and let's build the same thing, right? So it's 100 here, and the color is this, and the icon is white, right? So we have this here, so we have this. So if you have something like this, right? We all agree that this is not at all comfortable, right? And of course, is even less comfortable if you do something like this. This is not comfortable. Too small, no. So you can't have a navigation that small, right? Navigation need to be engaging, easy to read, and not clumsy, not busy, let's say. Need to be clear. It's a navigation, right? It's like, I don't know, you want to read a map and you have like 200 direction, you can't understand it. So here, the top navigation, always put it like 55 points, right? This is the best height. Less than this, start to be less comfortable, right? It's a visual thing. We learned that with experience. We learned that with 40 years of experience, of returning experience. People said, "Oh, I don't feel good with this." I don't, they put millions of dollars in research, and they pay people to try and test things, right? Sometimes I have even people asking me to test their websites. I have some friends, they say, "Oh, can you test my website? Can you tell me where it's not great?" Right? Can you tell me where, So, yes, you need to put space here and be generous. Generous. Okay? The terminology is important. So, I don't really remember the size of this, but I can take it. Will be something like 35 or something like this. I moved it. Okay, so, oh yeah, 35. See? Was great. Okay, so 35 and 35 because it's a round thing, right? And you put in the middle. Okay, so yeah, FileMaker has a great design guide, right? Right. So you put here and you try to have, uh not too close from the from here. You don't do this, and you don't do this neither, right? This doesn't look good. You need to put that here, right? And use this as a natural margin. Okay. So when you have your button here, so you can have different buttons. So here, this here for me, I can even put that bigger. This icon here is the navigation, the main navigation menu. Okay. So I put it round, or you can make square, I don't know. It looks, I like the round here, but you can make square, you can make whatever, even if you don't want any border, any background, you can just put the icon. You can do a mini, this is no longer design, it's just, taste. Okay. So here, when you click here, so this is where you navigate throughout the solution, right? So it's the hamburger menu is where you navigate. So you want that to be accessible and easier, easy accessible, easily, right? So you click here and you get this. Then you have other button here. You have the go to the home layout, like the main layout, the first layout, let's say, the home, right? Could be a dashboard, can be whatever you want, but it's a home layout, right? So you have a direct access to a layout here. Yeah, I can get access to this layout. I don't even remember. Yeah, here I can go to tools and dashboard. I can do that, right? But this button goes there, right? Then I have another main um, feature that I want to highlight is a search, right? So you have the navigation, the access directly to the home, and the search. Of course, I play a little bit here with what's the name? I'm playing with the coloring, with the accent. I put an accent on this icon to make sure that UI will say, okay, that icon here is more prominent than the two others. Okay. And you're right. The blue icon is more important than the two others. Okay. But they are on the same line. So, so that's why I say, okay, let's put this. So something I can show you, right? Let's say I want to borrow this gray color here. I want to borrow it. I want to get the same color of the gray. You click here, you say other, you click on the magnifier and see here you have, so click again, click here, you click on the magnifying glass, and now you can grab any color you want. I can even grab the FileMaker color, right? I can do, I can go and do this, right? So I'm going there and I'm going to borrow this color. And I click here, poof, I borrow the color, right? I sucked in the color, right? So now I can just change the button icon color, right? And do the same home. Where's the home? I don't see it. You see it? I passed it. Where's the home? Where are you? Home?
Where is it?
Phone home. Where is it?
Where did it go? Okay. Is it at the top somewhere? No.
No, it's
Oh,
on the
there it is,
bottom.
bottom. But it's at the
Oh
bottom.
yeah. It's there. It's there. Yeah, it's there. Can you put like 20? And then I have another one here with a magnifier glass, okay, which is the symbol, the universal symbol for search, right? We okay with this, right? So, and of course so that to tell you that, the glass is because of the Sherlock Holmes.
I never thought about that. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's Sherlock Holmes. It's Sherlock Holmes. She was, we have this iconic, urban iconic, Sherlock Holmes with the pipe and the search, and the magnifier glass, right? So the search with the magnifier glass comes from Sherlock Holmes. It's to tell you, how educated we are, because this doesn't come with natural instinct of humans, right?
No.
It came with education, right?
Cultural
Right?
standards. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a cultural standard, right? So we used to do that since the beginning. Somebody did that. It works well, so they kept it, right? So for the same thing, we still have a floppy disk as save icon, mostly on PC, right? So when we don't, the last time I used a floppy disk in my life, I was 24, and I'm so 30 years ago. The last time I used a floppy
I
disk,
don't
right?
think I've
So
ever used one.
exactly. So, but still, it's so that's why. Imagine that you want to come with your own standard, right? And you break this. You can't break this. Like the home stuff, always be we home, the home, we know what that means, right? We go to the beginning, we go to mom, right? So now that I have those three buttons here, I can go and make more, right? But you can't be crazy and do this. You can't, that if you're there, that it's over. It's completely, totally over. You break this confusing, doesn't work. And I know I saw that, a bunch of buttons all over the place, right? And you lose your users. No, you need to pick the most important thing that you want to put there, right? Here I have three, sometimes I'm putting four, but I start feeling uncomfortable when I put four, right? Because something, you know. And then, you put a clear separation with this, and then you put whatever is this. Okay, it's contacts, right? Correct. So you can put bold and 22. So let me talk about that. We have this, right? Even 22 too big. See, it's too big. 22 is too big, because you can see yourself. It pops too much. It slaps your face too much. Better to say 18 or 20. 18 good. Okay. So we have this here. We are in context. So that is where we are. And no, we don't put this there like this and like no. And I do it for you to see this is not comfortable. This doesn't look right. You feel it, you can see it doesn't look right. So navigation first and then where you are, right? Because the logic means you navigate first before you land, right? You take off and then you land. You don't land and then take off, right? So this is how you need to think about this. Okay. So let's talk about, since we're here, fonts and bold and italic, underline, stuff like this. Okay, since we're there. Okay. Um, you have two type of fonts. Two type of fonts. You have the expression, font for expression, and font for function. So let me explain. We never ever use. So first, what is expression? This font is an expression. This font is an expression, right? This is an expression. So you see here, I want to emphasize, right? I want to give a message. I don't put where we are like this. I don't do this, right? Doesn't make any sense. But in the same token, I'm not going to put this like this, like, right? Or a label, not going to put that big and bold, right? I'm not going to do that. It doesn't make any sense. What makes sense is to say, okay, I want to emphasize where I am. So I'm using capital characters, bold, and slightly bigger. Okay. But I'm not going to put everything like this neither. Only this. I'm going to put this to say, okay, at a glance, at one glance, boom, you know where you are. This is sight, and this is where you are. Context. This here, I want to be more subtle. Why? It's because I have many, and they are not that important. They are important when your eye is there. You know, when you feel this, you need to know this, right? When you read this, you need to know this is just an indication. It's not something that you want to be prominent. At the contrary, that's something you want to be like on the background, right? Quiet. You don't want that to scream. That's quiet. So those are expressive fonts. We express, we use size, we use colors to build a sense of priority, okay, of importance, something that you want, your eyes won't be that uh, dressed, right, by this, right? For
Hey,
fonts,
Nick,
we have yes.
can you restate briefly? You cut out for like a couple seconds, so
Oh,
back
okay,
up
sorry
slightly.
for that.
No, you're good.
So that was, I was saying, those are expression. They are there to express a title, a situation, location, in this, you know, they are indication. And then you have what we call function fonts, you know, font of functions. They have a function, right? So this is what, because, okay, here for this, we never ever, we can use bold, but we never use underline or italic. Never, never use this in any of those fonts, of those texts, right? The expression, never use italic and underline. Never, right? Never ever. We don't do that. It's a rule. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look, but they have functions, right? So they have function. For example, first function, let's say I'm going to, you know, type something and I say, hello, how are you? Okay. Okay. So what happened? What happened if I say this? What that mean for you? you know, what that means.
Uh,
I'm asking.
what does that mean for you guys?
If you see something like this struck through,
It means that you take it back, right? Like you don't mean
yeah,
it,
so
or
that
like
means
it's
it's canceled.
yes.
This means it's canceled. It means it was there, but it is canceled, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Then we have another one, right? This. And I'm adding another thing, this. What that means, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could mean disabled, uh,
Can't click it.
inactive.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a function. You don't use italic or strike through or whatever, right? If you have uh, um, for the expression, you use that only when you have a function, when you want to convey a message, you want to emphasize something. For example, here I have an example, right? Um, here, so technically, you see here is gray, but I could have say here, for example, in my conditional formatting, right? I could have say italic, right? So I'm building you an example. Then you can see inactive. It's italic, right? You understand? It's inactive. So, you know, it's italic. You give a sense, you give a message, right? So technically, I didn't do that here, but technically what I'm doing is I'm putting not only this, um, I can build and you know reverse letter, but technically I'm doing so inactive. So I'm selecting all of those. I'm putting this here, and I say text color this italic. Oh yeah, but it's the state. I need to say, yeah, this is not good. The formula is um, the status. The status, where the status? Maybe is this, let me see which one is, yeah, status active. So status active. Okay. So this is how I present things. See, now the inactive pops in the design. It pops. It's gray, it's italic. I know this is over. This is not interesting. This is, is inactive. So you see, you gave an additional visual information to the user that this stuff is inactive. And this pops now without trashing, without making the active more prominent. No, you make the inactive more subtle, more down. You cool down, right? It's inactive. Giving with the italic, you give the sense of, yeah, it's inactive, it's italic, it's it's leaning, it's sleeping, right? You know what I mean? It's like sleeping. Okay. So this is why you have this. The strike through will be okay, that canceled. That's removed, canceled, Then you have another one you can use, right? Is this one. So it's not italic, it's underlined, and it's red. So this means, hey, is red, underline is important, right? Read me, take account, take care, read this, right? So you see the fonts here have a function, you know, it means like, uh-huh, you know, read this. And most of the time you need to, it's a combination of many things. So the underline and red, you know, this stays the way it was, but it's struck through. That means it was there, but it's canceled. This is okay. It's not important, right? It's sleeping, you know, italic. It's no, it's dormant, right? So you see here, you see, so you got the point here, right? So now you know that you don't use this on things where there's no message to say. Here, I have no message to say in the label. Here, I don't have message to say. I have no function, right? Here, yes, right? So it could be like this, it could be, you know, but you you got the point here, right? So do we have any question about this?
I don't see any at the moment.
But does that make sense to you guys?
I think it does,
That's
but if there are questions, comments, concerns, everybody? Basically, UI has its own kind of language.
yeah,
Canvera
so
says
it's
good. Uh,
yeah,
People are
it's
typing.
okay.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Makes sense.
So sometime when you want to convey a message, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to put what it is really, just track through, right? That means you know something happened, or you put italic gray, or you put red, you know, that means pay attention. That means warning, important to read, right? So let's continue. So now, uh, we don't want a layout with 2 million buttons, okay? Because it doesn't make any sense to have 2 billion. I know you guys who is working with Microsoft products, you know, there's toolbars with 2 billion buttons, right? And you have buttons within buttons, and then you have option in the option of the buttons within the buttons. And okay. So that one way to see a design, right? Uh, I'm not a fan of it, right? Um, so, and to be honest with you, if you want to go that route with FileMaker, good luck, because you know, it's not easy to build, right? It's not easy. Here, you need to adopt a more sober approach than this. Okay, um, so um, it's it's just you you don't want to have a complicated UI, right? Because if you get a complicated UI for the user to use, it is a very complicated UI for you to build. We want something we can reuse, something we can build easily, something that's comfortable to use, right? So there's many ways to do that. So instead of putting a bunch of buttons, right, like new and and delete, right, and a bunch of print and a bunch of import right? So instead of having a bunch of buttons like this, right? Boom, 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 like this, right? Like I'm seeing on many solution, you have a better way, okay? So you can see here, I have no delete buttons. I have no new button. I have a find button, which I could have easily removed, but I put it for convenience, right? But most of the time, the main new, you don't want it on the layouts. The main new. So I want to add a site, right? You don't have it on the layout because we have a bunch of other add. Okay, we have another. So you don't want add contact, add parser, add site, add this, add, no, you don't, right? You need to limit those redundant actions, right? So I have no main delete. I don't, you know, why? Is because, well, uh, they invented something we call menu, right? So why you want to, I know menus on FileMaker is not easy to use. I'm going to have a webinar on this. I plan to do that too, because I want to reconcile you with the menus, okay? Even though I know they're pain, but unfortunately it's a useful pain, right? Because, you know, imagine that you have a computer without menus, right? How you do? You want icons? So what I'm doing here, I'm here, okay, and I want to create a new folder. You want a button with a new folder here? No, you have here new folder, right? So it's the same here, right? So when you uh, at least the least you can do, right, is to give a menu, right? A site menu, new site, duplicate, delete, right? It's pretty much the same as record, new record, duplicate record, delete record, but I changed the name for record to sites, right? So there's ways, and I'm going to show that maybe during this webinar, how to make that very easily. How to make that when I'm on site, it said site, new site, duplicate, delete. You know, there's way to do that, you know, and to make it to have one menu, one custom menu, not a custom menu per layout, right? But you have one custom menu that fits all of this, all of them, all the layout, right? So I'm going to show you that, but not now. But you got the point here. You use menus because we have shortcuts. It's better than a button, right? It's way better than a button when you have a shortcut like this. And it's not confusing, right? And people doesn't click on the wrong delete, right? I have no delete button whatsoever here. Really few one, right? Here I have none. Here maybe if I add a note somewhere, maybe I will put, yeah, here I have a delete here, right? But I'm not going to delete something very important. If I'm going here, yeah, you know, if I delete this, I'm screwed, right? And if I delete it, I'm even more screwed, right? So I have no delete button on the layout. Don't put delete buttons. Delete is gone. Put delete, even if you have a message, delete gone, right? So use the the menu instead, right? But of course, if you have many deletion, many entities, many things, you cannot have menu for everything. No, The menu is for the main things, not for the secondary things, right? The secondary thing, yes, we need the UI, and that's great. But for the main, no, right? We use our menus. So for the buttons, so let's say I want to, I want to add things for it. I want to add, let's click here and go to another layout. So let's go, I'm going here, a more complex layout, right? And you can see here, neither I have a lot of buttons, right? I'm going to come there, to explain to you things like this, but we don't have a button. We don't have a lot of buttons, right? So where are my buttons? Where are they, right? Well, you remember the kitchen analogy that I was talking about? Well, I have a drawer for buttons, right? And it's there. Here, I have plenty of buttons. But since I have a UI, right, that since I have a cabinet with my buttons, not only I have enough real estate to put the button with an icon, but also with an explanation. I have a quick explanation, right? So find settle, for example, here I know this one, find settle parcel with country selection, import value, so I have, you know, uh, explanations. So you understand? So and I have groups. I group them, update value fiduciary, export documents, right? So I group them. So imagine that I don't do this and I have all those buttons on the layouts, right? And when you have a UI like this, you can even go further, you know? So let's say you have a UI like this, you have a lot of buttons like this, for example, right? So let's say I'm going to put a popover here, right? So I have a popover that I'm going to pop here. I don't want the title, right? I'm putting the icon, which is this one. Um, which one are you using? I'm using this one, right? No, oh yeah, no. I don't have it. Okay, I can show you something. I want to transfer an icon from one solution to another. Here I have this icon here, right? But here I don't have it in this file, right? Well, that's easy. Just copy. You copy the button here. Yeah, it takes some time. I have so many objects in this layout. I'm copying this and I paste here. Just paste and I can remove the button. Now I have the object. So copy, paste, and you can even remove the object, the button, and you have your icon here, okay? So I'm putting the icon black like this, right? And I'm making this like this. Pretty much I want the same gray of this one, so I can borrow this gray, and I want it's 100, right? And 35, 35, right? To be the same size on this, in the middle, and click here. So I have this. So now I can arrange my buttons like this, right? My buttons, right? So let's say you have a lot of buttons, right? well, you can even add an extra button. You can have tabs inside this, and you can have multiple tabs, boom, 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 like you be like a menu, right? Be like a menu. So for example, if I open the design database, I can borrow something like this, right? So I can borrow this, right? And put it here. I'm going to remove those because let's say I want free, right? Like this, right? You put that here, right? And then, so this goes, it goes to title one, and then you can build a slide control here, remove this and this, right? You put on the back, and you put your button in. So now I have a slide, and I can slide, right? And then this will slide with those. So you can add another dimension to your um, buttons. So pretty much what you do, you build your own like menu like this, right? So you can organize your things. Okay. So, but of course, I won't put on the top right new delete print import, right? On it because there's no priority here. New delete print will be more prominent in the priority, right? But I'm going to explain that later. So for now, I explained to you the main philosophy behind all of this, right? So the main philosophy is to not put 2 billion buttons in your layout. People knows when they see something like this, well, there's something here. See, you can put your stuff here. It looks much better than have all the buttons like this on the layout, right? And you will see that I can add a lot of buttons with common sense, right? Especially when we are going to start using, the master detail and stuff like that, navigation, right? Before we go, right? So sometime, sometime like here, right? In this solution, I have a lot of layout, a lot of. So of course, right? Of course, uh, I cannot put all the navigation for all the layout of my solution on top, right? I can't. That's why we build the hamburgers, because I cannot put all of those, all of those, all of those, and I cannot put all of this in one bar, right? On the navigation. But I can help the user, right, to navigate throughout the main layout where they have to go more likely always, all the time. In that particular case, it would be like contact sites parcel because, well, is a tax optimizer, real estate tax optimizer. So of course, tax optimization is about people in their home, right? And with the information about their property. Contact sites parcel, correct? Makes sense, right? Like soon I'm going to start working for people are selling heavy duty professional or high power electrical or um, electrical material, right? So, and they have customers customers quotes offers, right? So of course, well, you understand what I'm going to, but they have plenty other layouts, but that is their main, their main stuff, right? Their customers quotes offers. So I'm going to, of course, I'm going to put those free navigation on top because this is where they go, right? So when you build something like this, don't be crazy. Don't start putting like 15 buttons. No, 15 buttons is too much. You cannot do this. You can't. You need to stay calm here, right? So you put 3, 4, 5, let's say 6 at the maximum. But after that, you start to be like, boom, you fell out, you fall out of their boundaries, right? Because it becomes too much, right? For the eye, too much, it's too much. 5, 6, not more, right? So you need to find your, pick your battle here, right? So, and that is why this is what this first bar here is for, right? Is this. So let's copy this and I'm going to put in the contact, even if it doesn't work, right? Just to explain to you. Of course, this must be centered, right? But be in the center. So FileMaker has a nice, yeah, it's there. Boom. See, this one is centered, right? Right. So I have this, right? So now we have a navigation bar, which is good, right? It's well articulated. And we have the most important here stuff, the less important stuff here, right? So we have a balance like this, the main navigation, right? So the 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 most important navigation, let's say, okay? So you stay there. If they want more, well, they have the burger, right? Right. Also, if you want, you can even add these, right, in a menu, right? We can do that. Right? But the menu, I'm going to, maybe tomorrow, maybe I'm going to show you how, or maybe now if you want, how now to tomorrow, how we can make a button,
Mm-hmm.
right? A menu that change the records word. Like for example, here say contacts, new contact, duplicate contact, delete contact, and delete all contacts. Go to contact, right? Omit contacts. So I can show, sort contacts, right? We can modify those, but we have one custom menu that accommodate all of them, right? So that would be interesting. There's many ways to do that. I have my preferred way, right? And I'm going to show you my preferred way to do that tomorrow. So do we have any questions? I'm surprised we have no question whatsoever.
I don't see any people talking about like different things that you can intuit. I don't know. I think you explained it really cohesively, Nick, as a concept. So that's why I don't see many
But did you
questions.
learn something today? I mean, does
Yes.
that make sense to you? I mean, because design is a it's all about tastes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about perception, feelings. So when you talk about design, you call the feeling of people, right? So, well, feelings and tastes, we are all different feelings and different tastes. So now I explain to you mine with my perspective, my experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some explanation, right? Of the reason why
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 you do what
this
you
it
do. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, right? So but so
Peop
did you
Yeah, I
yeah.
learned something. People in my chat are saying they learned something. Yes, I always learn something new every day, which is true. I always learn something, Nick, when you're talking. Uh,
No, it's about because I want to know, if I want to explore more during the webinar or if I just skip and go somewhere else. But um, but this is important. The the spacing is important, right?
hmm
So if you start building something like this, well, yeah, but okay, that extreme. But if you doesn't it's not doesn't look good. You need to you know even if you do this right, start to be like right. uh you can put space, not too much, right? That doesn't make sense neither, but not too let's say I could do that in that case, right?
hmm
Like this is okay. You can see visually that that makes sense, okay,
hmm
visually, right? Put space. So you put space here, space here. Don't try to do something like this, too clumsy, right? Put space, not too much, but your eye will tell you, because yeah, we have all different feelings and taste, but we have the same eye, right? That react the same way, okay? So put
Yes.
space here. You put space between objects, right? Don't glue everything. Don't put everything clumsy. It doesn't look great. So if you want more real estate, we have other tricks, you know, or first remove the bar here. Most of the time I don't use the bar. This bar here I don't, right?
hmm
It's not because I don't like it, because first of all of this works, in this, here I can use the bar, you know, I can use I can use it, but um, I can use it because if I say new setup, see, I have it, right? So uh, all of this works, If I click find here, if I click find here, it's the same as clicking find here, right? So if I click find here, I'm going to the find layout, right? Boom. And if I said cancel find, I'm going back where I was, right? So that's why I can use it. It's working, right? But it's better not having the bar, you know, if you can remove it, right? And rely on this and rely on other things, right? Removing the bar. So boom, right? So it's cleaner and we have more real estate. So this bar here, right? Uh, it's your main stuff. So tomorrow we continue. We're going to talk about this.
Yes. And then we
The
got more.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was just saying we
Yeah.
got more comments as we were talking, which is like Nick makes it all looks too easy. It's a nightmare for the rest of us. All of this makes sense. Maximize white space, minimal buttons to avoid user confusion. Uh, Nick is still a visual wizard, which is very true. I think we all go to many websites, and some we love and many we don't. It's this design principle you may not realize is giving us this feeling. Space is one of the most important design rules, but it's often ignored.
Yeah, they ignore for convenience, and they ignore for laziness, and they ignore for lack of knowledge, right?
Yes.
So pick one. Sometimes they ignore for the free reason. Um, but less is better always, right? But you will say, yeah, but we need them. We have ways to, arrange, but less is better always, to keep the most important things up, right? And not confusing people. The confusion is drive a sense of fear, So when you have people say, oh, I don't know if I can click there. I don't know if I, so if you have a big giant button, delete, right? People say, why is this delete button there, right? Correct. So sometimes UI is so bad. For example, the most, I'll say, the worst interface ever, and I don't know why. And I'm in three different banks, right? And they're all the same. Is the bank layouts? The bank, our website. For example, today I want to extract a document from my bank. I needed to go YouTube and ask how to get this document, the chase.com website, because I could, after 15 minutes, I couldn't find it, right? And the worst part of it is that this was in front of my eyes. It was there, but I couldn't see it, right? I couldn't see it. Why? Because it's buried. It's buried with advertisement, buy a car, buy a house, refinance your mortgage, so I don't even know where to look at, things like this, right? So it was there, right? But buried in too many things because they want you to buy stuff, right? So and that's why if the worst interface in the world, the worst ever, is the interface of the most used website ever, Amazon.com. It's the worst interface for the most visited website in the world, pretty much after Google, right? So and the success of Google, the success of Google was this. And I take this from a designer I met that was the original designer of the original Google at the very beginning of Google history, right? Why it takes so long? Are you there?
Yep, no, I'm
Oh,
still here.
I don't
So
know.
your internet
Takes so
decided
I don't
to.
know. It doesn't want to go to
What
Google.
time is it? Is it the Netflix time over there?
It's me, but that's it.
There you
That your UI, right?
go.
That your UI. You have no UI, right? And everything buried here, right? Everything there, everything, right? And here, see? So they didn't put all of this in the layout, like no, it's there, right? But here is your most important things that you want to, you want to see this, right? That's what you want in Google. So it's not, you understand what I mean? So Google is a good example of simplicity, and that's the success of Google. And that's why Yahoo and all the Bing stuff, they failed. They failed because at the beginning, I mean, at the beginning was Yahoo and what was the Alta Vista. I don't know if you people remember of this. Alta Vista, I don't even know if that exists still. Alta Vista was the first, yeah, see, in 1995, because the most used early engine ever, right? Alta Vista. But Google came with extreme simplicity, like one field and voila. Okay, you understand? So 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 you need to adopt the same philosophy in your layout. Say, okay, yeah, simple, remove, scratch, scratch this, remove. Do I need this? No. Poof. You put on a drawer, you know. Do you need for example, I was cooking something and I want to crush some garlic, right? Do the garlic crusher always on top of my countertop? No, you know, it's on my third drawer in my kitchen, the third, because I'm not crushing garlic every, but the jar with the coffee is on my top counter, right? Because I'm drinking coffee, so I put on the counter. It's not on the third drawer. No, but the garlic crusher, yes. So this is the same thing. And then you don't you don't put your dangerous stuff. I don't have all my knife that you can cut or a head with just a like this. I have a Japanese, or
Mm-hmm.
knife, like, you don't leave it that like it on the table, on the counter. Dangerous.
What?
It's
I'm not supposed to
dangerous.
store that blade up pointed towards you?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to you don't want so why you want to put a delete button, big, like a big delete button in the front of your stuff, you put a big giant delete button like this, right? And delete, right? You have a big delete button like this here in the no, you don't do this, do you did this? Oh, delete. That's the most important thing, right? And worse, because I saw that, you have a delete button. I saw that, with a nice green color,
No,
right?
they made it green?
Yeah, the nice green color, that means go away, go ahead, click this. This is good for you.
uh, Someone suggests that you should make that delete the entire database.
Yeah, so you don't so that's the extreme case, but you
Yeah.
understand what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, so the um delete, creation, eh, even create, because you don't want people say, okay, new. You don't want this as, you know. So sometimes you need to limit the creation because you don't want empty stuff, right? So I got a case where I need to limit the creation stuff, right? Because people were creating, and you have a bunch of empty stuff like this, right? So sometimes you need to adapt the UI for the needs, right? But tomorrow we continue. So we do the tomorrow we start. We're going to continue a little bit like this. So we start with the top navigation bar, and then we're going to start talking about the master detail, which is important, right? Right.
Yes. Absolutely. Uh, Thank you very much, Nick. Seriously, this has been awesome.
You're very, very welcome. So talk to you tomorrow then.
Yes, absolutely. Hold on, brief thing. Australian Airlines used to have, do you have dangerous items in your bag? And the yes button was green and the no button was red. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
rough.
yes. Why?
So you just gotta hit
Why?
yes because like you think green. Oh, that means I don't have the things in my bed. No, that was that was the bad answer. Uh,
No, sometimes they play with this, you know. Sometimes, I have an example recently. They force you to, like, for example, they they put the oh yeah, I purchased or I got attacked, hacked recently. So I bought some like protection and stuff like this because I want to know what happened in my computer.
mhm,
So yeah, in Europe you have a lot of attacks like this. So I purchased this. So they're smart, right? They put the green, nice big green button with annual purchase, right? So you pay $80 right away. So that was green and pre-selected, right? And the monthly was, like gray, and on the right, small,
mhm,
looking bad, looking you know. But the annual was green and nice and prominent in the middle of the face, right? Yeah, because they want to. So why green? Green. Oh, no, green is good. Green is good. I'm green. I'm good with green, right? So yeah, they're smart. They use this, right? So you need to use the same thing, the same way. You know.
yep, there you go. Thank you very much, Nick. Hope y'all have a lovely day, and
Thank
I
you.
look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye bye,
See you tomorrow.
everyone.
Bye bye.